Story 1. The Blue Light.
It was supposed to be the vacation of a lifetime, a luxurious cruise that would take us to sunny destinations in the Caribbean. The ship was a floating city, with dozens of restaurants, bars, clubs, and even a casino. We had booked our cabin months in advance and eagerly counted down the days until departure. As we embarked on the massive vessel, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and awe. This ship was bigger than anything I had ever seen before, and it was fully equipped with state-of-the-art technology and entertainment. We spent the first day exploring the ship, trying out different restaurants and lounges and making new friends. However, as soon as night fell, things began to take a turn for the worse. I started to notice strange sounds coming from the walls and floors of the ship, creaking, moaning, and groaning that seemed to be coming from some unknown source. At first, I tried to brush it off as just my imagination, but the sounds persisted night after night. Then, one night, I woke up in the middle of the night to find my cabin bathed in an eerie blue light that seemed to be pulsing and flickering. I could hear a distant humming that seemed to be getting louder and closer. I got out of bed and opened the cabin door, only to find that the entire ship was bathed in the same blue light, and the hum had turned into a deafening roar. I stumbled down the corridors, trying to find my friends and other passengers, but the ship was eerily quiet and empty. There were no sounds of laughter or chatter or music, just the hum and the flickering blue light that seemed to be getting brighter and brighter. After what felt like hours of wandering in the dark, I came across a group of passengers huddled in a corner, their eyes wide with terror. They told me that they had seen strange creatures lurking in the shadows, creatures that seemed to be made of blue light and pulsing energy. They had seen passengers disappear into thin air, sucked into some unknown void by the creatures. I didn't want to believe them, but as the hum and the light grew stronger and more intense, I began to see things too. Strange, pulsing figures that seemed to be following me wherever I went, their glowing blue eyes fixed on me. I heard screams and cries coming from deep within the bowels of the ship, and I knew that something terrible was happening. The ship seemed to be alive with the energy of some unknown force. And I could sense that we were hundreds of miles away from land, adrift on the vast expanse of the ocean. The creatures seemed to be feeding off the fear of the passengers, growing stronger with each passing moment. I don't remember how long I wandered the silent, blue-lit corridors of the ship. But eventually, I found myself on the upper deck, staring out at the endless sea. The creatures were all around me, glowing and pulsing in the dark, and I knew that I was going to die. And then, suddenly, the humming stopped, and the blue light winked out. The ship was plunged into darkness, and the only sound was the gentle lapping of the waves against the hull. For a moment, I stood there, frozen with fear, waiting for something terrible to happen, but nothing did. The ship continued on its course, and the passengers slowly emerged from their hiding places, blinking in the dim light. We were all alive, but we were all changed by what we had experienced. We knew that we had come face to face with some unknown terror, and that we were lucky to have survived. The rest of the cruise passed in a blur of sleepless nights and restless days. And I couldn't wait to get back on dry land. But even months later, I still find myself haunted by the memory of those pulsing creatures and the glowing blue light that seemed to fill the ship with a malevolent energy. I don't know what it was that we encountered on that ship, but I know that I never want to experience anything like it again.
Story 2. It Lurks Below.
I am Captain John, and this is the story of the worst experience of my life. I was leading a fishing ship deep in the ocean, miles away from any land, with my team of experienced fishermen. The weather had been good so far, and we were hopeful of a good catch. We had been out at sea for a week and had created a routine, where we'd fish during the day and relax at night. One night, as I looked out into the vast darkness of the ocean, I saw something that made my blood run cold. There was a creature, an enormous one, emerging out from the depths of the ocean. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was at least 100 feet long, with scales as big as dinner plates, and eyes that glowed in the dark. Its teeth were longer than that of a great white shark, and it had tentacles extending from its sides. I immediately alerted my team and told them to get inside the ship. We locked the doors, and I tried contacting the Coast Guard, but we were too far out, and the signal was weak. The creature came after our ship, and it hit us with such force that we all tumbled to the deck. We scrambled to get up, but the creature hit us again, and this time we fell hard on the deck. The sound of the hit was so loud that it could have shattered our eardrums. Screams filled the air as the ship began to tilt, and the creature slid across the room. The creature circled us, and we realized that we had been trapped in its territory. It was toying with us, and we knew that it was only a matter of time before it attacked us again. For days we were stuck in the same spot, hoping against hope that someone would come to our rescue. But the creature would not let us leave, and we began to run out of food and water. The smell of decay filled the air as our catch began to spoil. We could feel the monster watching us, and it waited for us to give up. Some of us tried to take the small boats and row to safety. But as soon as they touched the water, they were snatched up by the creature. It was as if it could sense our moves and could anticipate our every step. I have spent most of my life at sea, and I have witnessed many dangerous situations, but this was different. We were helpless against the creature, and it seemed as if it was enjoying our misery. The nights were the worst. It was as if the creature was closer to us at that time. It was 3 long weeks before another ship discovered ours. We were dehydrated, weak, and hollow-eyed. When we reached the land, we were immediately put into quarantine. We were even tested for any signs of paranoia or hallucinations. But we all knew what we had seen and experienced. It has been years since that incident, but I am still haunted by that creature. I continue to have nightmares, and the sound of waves crashing against the shore still sends shivers down my spine. I know that there are still mysteries out there in the ocean that we humans are yet to uncover. And I dread the day when someone else will encounter what we did, and they won't make it back to share their story.
Story 3. The Secret of the Deep.
As someone who has always had a love for the ocean, I decided to take a solo journey across the open water. It was a decision I had been contemplating for years, and I knew that it was finally time to make it a reality. As I set out on my journey, I felt a mix of both excitement and fear. The vastness of the ocean was overwhelming, and I couldn't help but feel small and insignificant compared to the vastness of the sea. However, I was determined to make this journey and to discover all that the ocean had to offer. As I traveled further and further from land, I began to notice strange things happening. The water seemed to be darker than before, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me from beneath the surface. Despite my growing unease, I pressed on, determined to see this journey through to the end. Suddenly, a massive wave crashed over my boat, and I was thrown from the deck and into the water. I struggled to keep my head above the surface, but it was no use. I was pulled under, deeper and deeper into the seemingly endless abyss of the ocean. As I fell, I noticed something moving in the darkness below. It was a building, like nothing I had ever seen before. The structure was massive, and it was clear that it had been constructed with incredible precision and skill. As I drew closer, I could see that there were people moving within the building. They were dressed in strange suits, and I couldn't help but feel that I had stumbled upon some kind of secret underwater base. Despite my initial fear, I decided to explore the structure and to uncover its secrets. It was a decision that I soon came to regret. As I moved through the base, I could feel something watching me, lurking in the shadows just out of sight. It wasn't long before I realized that I was not alone in this place, and that there was something dark and sinister at work. I could hear strange whispers echoing through the halls, and I knew that I was not welcome in this place. Despite my growing fear, I refused to turn back, determined to uncover the truth about this hidden underwater base. As I delved deeper into the structure, I began to uncover secrets that no one was ever meant to discover. Dark experiments were being conducted within these walls, and I soon realized that I had stumbled upon something far more sinister than I could have ever imagined. It wasn't long before I realized that I was being hunted by the very people who had built this base. They were not human, and they had been conducting dark experiments on unsuspecting victims for years. As I fled, I could hear their footsteps echoing in the halls, and I knew that my time was running out. Despite my best efforts, I was eventually caught and brought before the leader of the base. It was a creature unlike anything I had ever seen before. It was grotesque and twisted, with hundreds of eyes staring back at me from all angles. What followed was an experience of pure terror and horror. I was subjected to horrific experiments, the likes of which I cannot even begin to describe. I was slowly losing my mind, and I knew that if I didn't escape soon, I would never make it out alive. In the end, I was able to escape, but the memories of that underwater base will haunt me for the rest of my life. The ocean is a place of beauty and wonder, but it is also a place of unimaginable horror and terror, and I will never forget the secrets that I uncovered on that fateful journey across the open water.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Please consider liking and subscribing to see more videos like this. By the way,